Welcome to the world of Gamer Zone. I'm Meredith O'Donnell.
And I'm Davis Sickman. Today we're going to be reviewing the GameTap service. We're going to do a little bit of different thing on review, along with our usual bits of news, starting off with the Truth in Video Games Act. Truth in Video Games Act is Fred Upton.
Republican Fred Upton.
Republican Fred Upton.
Worked hard for that, you know. I don't know.
Basically what it does is this act, which is kind of a cool idea, is that the ESRB, when they give a game a rating, they base it off the information that publishers provide them. Basically, the publishers provide pictures of the worst content that's in the game. Basically, if it's a violent game, you find the most violent scene in it. Boom, that's what you put in there. What this would do is, if a publisher reports something to the ESRB board, and they didn't reveal all their stuff, or that's intentionally deceived, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC,
they can impose financial sanctions. That's what they said, financial sanctions. Which I think it's a great idea. I think, well, first of all, I'm glad that they're not holding ESRB responsible for it, because they're not making any money on this. It's difficult to do what they're doing, to try and figure out to give a rating for every game out there for any publisher who wants to put their hat in there to get a rating. So I'm glad that they're holding them accountable.
Well, we both thought that was a great idea. Not so good of an idea is our own dear Kansas Senator Brownback.
Now. This isn't one of the smartest ideas in the world.
He wants the ESRB to have to play every game through from beginning to end. Okay, well, let's look at the logistics of this. Even a simple game may have 20, 30 hours worth of gameplay. Well, you've got multiple people that have to review it before you can come up with your rating and everything else. We're talking a pretty good sinkhole for money here.
It's ridiculous. How long have I been playing WoW?
And you still I'm
not to 60.
Yeah.
And even if I were to 60, that would be with one character. Even if I did it with 3 characters, there's the other
Horde
characters
side
to
and
play.
the Alliance side. Grand total, there's 8 characters to have to play through.
A shaman does completely different things than a rogue or a warrior, or, you know.
Absolutely. So how do you make sure? And
are you going to talk to everybody in the game?
And here's another thing.
You need to know what they're going to say.
Well, and here's another thing is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. If you played through the game all the way, you still wouldn't have seen the content that got them in trouble.
Right.
It wasn't until there was a third-party mod that any of that content comes out and that people got to experience what it was that was hidden in the game. So And
is this going to be, I mean, is ESRB now going to be responsible for every little piece that's in the game? I mean, you make a law like this, you make a rule like this so that you can say, hey, you broke it.
Yeah.
So are they saying, well, you missed that, so
and if
are they going to have the sanction?
And if ESRB misses a mini game in there because through gameplay you don't see it, would they be held accountable?
Exactly.
Like you're saying, I don't know. Now there was one more that's going on and has already passed, which is the CAMRA Act, CAMRA, the Children and Media Research and Advancement Act. Why we have little computers down here.
That's right.
What they're trying to do is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, has the ability now to set up a big study to decide, are video games affecting children in an adverse way? Now you should notice they say that the words children. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how it affects us adults. We can play anything violent and gory and whatever. The question is whether or not is this affecting kids? Mm-hmm. And by giving the CDC, who's known for doing some pretty good work, the opportunity to take this and run with it, it could give us back some answers. Is this really a big concern? I mean, is it more about morality, or is there an actual physical issue, a mental issue that's happening with these kids from playing these violent games?
Now, it does give them quite a bit of control, because, you know, whatever comes of this study will be used for future laws, future sanctions, future decisions being made. So you know, I do
No
think it's
pressure.
important. I think we need to have these studies done. We need to have control groups try and figure out whether it is happening. It's important. And we do this with all kinds of things, and it's
Yeah.
always controversial, but I still think it's important. But we also need to keep in mind that it means more than that. You get into the political arena, and it's going to mean more than that. So
Yeah.
that's the scary part.
Yeah, because you're right. When it comes to decision making, one of the biggest deciders in all of these bills that have been shot down was that one is First Amendment, free speech. Games are covered currently under free speech. Since there's no judge in the land currently that will say, I'm sorry, these games are harmful to children, instead they base it off of, I'm sorry, there's no evidence that these games currently are proven to be harmful to children. Without any reasoning behind it, First Amendment kicks in and says, sorry, you can't touch that. You can't ban these video games. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Right.
So depending on what the CDC comes back with, yeah, it could make a huge difference, or it could make no difference at all.
We've got yet another online game coming, but it's a little different. It's Myst. Myst is coming up with Myst Online, Uru Live. I'm not sure where Uru came from, but I'm not a big Myst player, so maybe it's in there somewhere, and I just don't know about it.
Heather was a big Myst player, and that's part of their hierarchy of the Myst series.
I see. So Myst is a puzzle game. You go through what they call ages, and you solve the puzzles as you go along. So they're going to turn this into an online game, an MMORPG. It is really confusing, and I think part of it is because I don't play Myst. I haven't been a Myst, a big Myst fan or a big Myst player, not because I hate it. I just never really picked it up. I'm too busy with WoW, honestly. But with these puzzle games, it doesn't seem to really fit into an online genre to me.
No.
So Rand Miller, who's co-creator of Myst, had a little interview with Joystick, I think it was, to kind of explain what this online world was going to be. And basically, what he said was, you have basically your home. You can invite somebody into your home, but that's your space. It's going to be how you left it. You can play these ages in these areas, and however you left that age, you can save it. It's almost like a saved game. You can save it and put it on your shelf. It's like a trophy, and you can go back into that age, back into that world, which I guess that's how you get around in these worlds. You have a book, and that it's like a transporter into that world. And that world will be left however you left it. It'll be like that. So it's like your own little saved game. You can invite people into your home, and they can show you, or you can show them your game, what you found in it, how you solved the puzzles, what you may have not figured out. They might be able to help you, but that's your space. Then there are a little bit bigger spaces that are called the neighborhood. And a neighborhood is basically a group. You can create a neighborhood from anywhere to one person. I'm not really sure why you'd have one person neighborhood, but from one person to 200 people. And it can be your family. It can be people who like the same type of thing that you do. It's just it's an instance that you can create, and you can edit a little bit, where you can have groups of people spend time together in that space. And then you have the city. And this is really the only part, to me, that is an MMO. This is where you will see everyone. It's almost what seems to me like a hub. That's where you would go to go find a neighborhood to go spend time in, or find your house and go into your house. But things are developed in that area. And he's really, really vague in his interview to say what would be going on in the city. Things can be constructed there, buildings can be constructed, events can happen, but he is really vague. So
I'm putting no blame on Joystick on this one, but this interview, If you read it, you can catch it at joystick.com. If you read it, it's not the most coherent interview. They asked some pretty solid questions, but I don't know if
he just might not have been the person to explain it.
Yeah, quite possibly. And it's a little strange to try and follow what's going on. In fact, he
made me do it.
Yeah. I let her describe the whole dang thing because I hadn't the slightest clue.
I did my best. It was all over the place. It was very hard to understand.
And even more interesting though is that, okay, so we got an online space now that has a weird sort of structure. In about 6 months, they're also supposed to be adding developer tools to let other people create
their own ages. Yeah.
I have no idea how this is going to work, but it does kind of address something that you had brought up during Second Life, which was having another place where user-created content could be done in a more controlled and more structured environment.
Right,
this might be it.
Now, its debut is going to be on GameTap.
Yep, as a matter of fact.
So when we come back, we will review, talk about GameTap and how it works, and we'll get into a little bit more about why Myst and Sam and Max are so important to the future of GameTap. So we will come back right after this. Welcome back to the World of Gamer Zone.
I mentioned last episode, and I'll mention again, my co-host is no longer able to do this on a continuous basis right now because of, her day job and opening a new business and all the great things she's got going on in life and playing WoW. Between all of those things, we're kind of on
Dark Messiah coming up too, so
Oh, that's
it's
true.
even more time taken away.
Wouldn't want to cut into your PopCap games time either. I mean, you're gonna have to you really got to schedule your game
I'm busy.
time in there, don't
Man.
you? But the thing is, we're looking for another co-host, preferably another female, so that we get kind of the different varying opinion here. However, if you're kind of interested in doing something like this and you're in the Wichita area, you can give me a call at 316-869-0369. Back to our GameTap. We had mentioned before, we'd said it was going to be kind of a different sort of review. This isn't a review like we normally review a game. There's no graphics score, there's no audio score, because this is so many different games combined into one. GameTap is a game service. You've probably seen commercials for it on TV, and that's kind of what originally got us to eyeballing it, was seeing these GameTap commercials where it says, over 500 games, and da-da-da. I'm thinking, right, $10 a month, you're going to give me access to crud, probably. Honestly, it's not nearly as fly-by-night as I expected to start with.
No, but they are, right now, they are older games.
Right.
2 years and older.
Yeah.
But they have all of the Heroes of Might and Magic games on there.
That's true, which made you happy about that. They also, it's not just PC specific. This is one of the first things I thought was cool, was it's not just a whole bunch of PC games and old PC stuff. Actually, they have stuff for the Sega Genesis. They have stuff for the old arcade machines like Pac-Man and the Commodore 64 era, from the Atari 2600 era. I mean, they've got really old stuff and slightly old stuff. Mm-hmm. So you got a whole kind of spectrum to go across there. It is nice and it's cool that way because it means a lot of the older games that are hard to get a hold of nowadays, you can find possibly on here.
Right.
Right now, when we were looking at it, they had 682 games, I think, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And
they've got a lot more coming.
Yeah, because
there's 1,440 games that they basically have in their library.
Yeah.
And they've released 682 so far.
Yep.
I don't know when all of those are coming out, but
I'm sure it's gonna be one of those slow phase it in over time. one of the first things about it that I found interesting is they've got a bunch of the old DOS-based games that usually typically don't run worth a dang on your modern PC. They seem to run just fine.
Yeah.
So it's obvious they're not just taking the game, throwing it in their library, and calling it good and letting you download it. They're obviously doing some work behind the scenes to make sure these actually work properly on your machine, which I think is cool, and I appreciate that. Along with that, you also get some of the games have, for instance, competitive mode, where you guys all compete for high scores. So if you're really into Dig Dug, you can compete with everybody else that's playing Dig Dug. It doesn't mean you're playing head-to-head against them. You're just score versus score.
Well, it's like when you go to a video arcade and you've got the list that has, the top 10 or top 20. Same kind of concept. They keep track of those. So.
Yep. And it works pretty well. And I tried it and got a couple of scores on a couple of things, but
it's definitely this right now, in its iteration right now, it's very much a nostalgia type thing. I mean, you go in there and I remember when I played that.
Oh wow, Oregon Trail. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Now, I did want to say something about that they do have educational games. So it's great for kids that they can play those Rita Rabbits and the Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego, all of those kind of games. They're in there. So
as a matter of fact, I mean, literally, it doesn't matter what genre you're into. There's at least one game that falls within, are you
a little bit of something.
So it doesn't matter if you like strategy games or.
Well, there's family and there's strategy and there's action and there's role playing. These are actually categories.
Yeah, because they break the service down into different ways of sorting through everything.
Right.
Her and I have a difference of opinion on this. The GameTap interface is very interesting.
It looks like a big dome. It kind of comes up. It's like you're looking up into a dome, and there's rings in these domes. The top ring is search, I think, and then there's a ring for like game types and game genres, and one of them is systems. That's right. And my favorites. And you pick the ring, and the ring falls down, and that's the one that you're looking at, and then it zooms around and you can see what's in that section. So I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's a fun way to present the games instead of just having a boring old list.
And here's the thing, if I had my choice, that would be your default one the first time you load it, and there would be like an expert mode or something where I just get my boring old list. It's got nice flash, it looks pretty, it looks cool, but after about the second time I loaded it, I'm going, could I just have a list, please? Maybe alphabetized?
Maybe that's the programmer in you, or the developer person in you. You just want to get directly to where you want to get, and you're not thinking about...
I want to get...
It's kind of like those people who got onto AOL, and they wanted AOL because they had the neat little pages that they could click on, but then we were like, I just want the internet. I don't want AOL.
See, I was never an AOL member for almost that exact reason.
I wasn't either, but that's kind of what I liken it to. It is the way it is for aesthetic reasons. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that way, but I don't know, I kind of like it.
But they do a decent job, though, of breaking down. For instance, if you're feeling like, well, God, I wonder what they got from the Commodore 64 era. They've got, under Systems, Commodore 64, it shows the whole list, emulates the game, and handles it all for you. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. It's
some of the instructions are a little... Yeah. Especially if they're games for a console like that, or games for, that you played in a video arcade, and you had, control sticks and A and B, and well, now you're playing it on a computer. You're playing it on a keyboard, and sometimes they're not real clear
on what does what.
Yeah, where's the A button? It's it's a little bit different. What do you press? So some of that's a little need to work it out. They just need to explain it. If they just explain it, it'd be fine.
Yeah. Most of the games do have a setup that shows you what the keys are supposed to be. Sometimes it doesn't fall.
Sometimes they tell you it's in the instructions. You read the instructions. It's not quite there.
No.
But they do have all the little pieces that came with the game. It's you pick the game, you can get info about the game. It comes up with an interface that you can look through all of this. And they even have extra content in a lot of them.
Some of them have little video clips. Some of them have history. Some of them just basically deeper information about the game, hints about the game. And I like the fact that they're, again, just not kind of giving you the game. It's an older game. So they're giving you the game plus some extra content.
Yeah, because us old folks, we don't remember how to play all of those games. Don't even.
I don't think I had a problem. But it is nice to have all of that information there. And it's pretty well organized. So it's not like you're going to have to hunt down to find the manual for, whatever game you're playing. Mm-hmm. The selection is great. Where they've got so many more in the stable still that they're in their library that they're pulling in, it does make you wonder what else is sitting out there.
They are pretty hyping.
Okay, two things.
Two things.
Yeah, because Mist Online Uru Live is one of them that's coming to GameTap the 17th that will be an MMO and a brand new game. They're also bringing...
And, before we talk about the next one, let's just kind of think about this. This is an MMO. You're going to pay $10 to be on GameTap to play all of these games, plus an MMO, which is usually a monthly fee.
Yeah.
You're not paying the monthly fee
for
the MMO.
You're just paying it for the service.
Right. That's kind of, that's
cool.
an important point to make on that.
Yeah, it does bring that cost value up considerably.
Right.
Is $10 a month worth it? Wow, you start adding that. Then Sam & Max. Episodic content.
Right.
So it's not like a one-shot deal where you're going to get one new game on there. You'll have Sam & Max, and then the next episode 2 or 3 months later. And one of the things that does come with GameTap is GameTap TV.
Yeah.
GameTap TV is, I don't know. I'm not real well decided about it. The first thing is, it's annoying because when you launch GameTap, boom, and you get
exactly.
this. Leave me alone. Let me get into my game. Obviously, if I'm somebody that wanted to get just a list of games, anyways, I don't want to put up with watching.
Even I was a little annoyed by that. I want to be able to turn it off. There's a GameTap button at the bottom. It's not like you can't.
Right. It's not like they don't let you get past.
Right. There's TV, and then there's your games, and so there's a place to get to it. It doesn't have to be the first thing blaring in your ear as soon as you log in.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that, but the idea of it is kind of interesting. It gives just a little bit more content, one more place for them to go, which makes it a little bit different from the Valve,
right?
The Steam program from Valve.
One of the things that GameTap TV has is news and reviews and what's coming up, but they also have oddball stuff like episodes of the old Mega Man cartoon. It kind of makes you wonder where they're kind of going with that GameTap TV thing. But it's got some possibilities.
It's got potential.
Yeah. And it's something to just kind of watch and see what it evolves into.
So they're really kind of trying to, they're having their first year anniversary, October 17th. So I think that's going to be the next iteration. So it's going to be interesting to find out what GameTap kind of turns into.
Yep, absolutely. The complaints we've had about it was, I had about it was with the interface. What I will say, I never had a complaint about a single game. As in, did it crash? Did it fail to launch? Did it anything like that?
Yes, but do you know what you downloaded?
That is an issue. So you've downloaded 6 or 8 games. By the way, you don't have to download a game and just sit there and wait on it. You can start one downloading. You can have up to 3 games downloading at once and still go off and play something else, which is nice. I love that.
And they have little buttons. They have little buttons at the bottom to tell you when it turns green, it means that particular game is downloaded.
Yeah.
So you'll know when all 3 of them are downloaded, it'll be all green. But you'll know when the first one's downloaded, so you can pop in there and start playing it.
But some of these games are huge. I mean, you take Sands of Time, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. It's a huge game. That's a long download. If you don't remember if you've downloaded it or if it's still in your cache, there's no way to find out. So if you really want to play that, or you're wanting to know what you've already downloaded, That's one thing the Steam interface has that I like that these guys don't have.
Right.
You should be able to tell, I've got these games. In fact, you should be able to filter the entire thing and say.
I really think they dropped the ball on that. I just think that somebody just didn't think of it.
But all in all, I thought the experience that they presented, the whole setup was really slick and is really well done. The extra effort they've put into them are great. If somebody asked me whether or not it was worth picking up GameTap for $10 a month, yes, it's at least worth trying it out.
I think I would have not kept it had I not known, though, that they're going to change it, that they're going to put some new stuff on there. Because you get on and you think, oh, I remember that game. Oh, I loved that game. I want to play that again. You get on, you play it, and it's like, okay, yeah, I remember. It was fun. What do you got for me now?
Yeah.
we're kind of in that kind of society. So I'm glad that they're coming up with some new stuff.
Yeah. I will say this, you do also kind of face the smorgasbord issue too, which is you have so many choices out in front of you. I have no idea what to pick on. No, I don't. You know, it's hard to find what you want to play next. So I think it's a pretty cool deal. I think it's worth it. I do think, however, that it's a good thing that they have up front. Right now, they're running a two week trial period. Basically, you can get it for 14 days for free to check it out. It's definitely worth doing that once, at least to make sure that they have stuff that you're interested in. Otherwise, well, it wouldn't be worth $10 a month then, I guess.
There's an awful lot of stuff there, though.
I'd find it hard to believe somebody could get it and not find at least one thing they wanted. Now, for something not found on GameTap, our work in progress segment. Right now, last week, we managed to get a little bit of work done on getting into the tiles to display. Now we actually get a little activity on screen. You can click on tiles. They fall over like they're supposed to. Again, ooh. We haven't gotten to the really exciting part yet.
Baby steps.
That's exactly right, though. Each one of these has to be a step that you build off of. And that's it for this episode. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, you can check the website at worldofgamerzone.com.
And thanks for watching World of Gamerzone. See you next time.